Today, I'm going to rank every way remodelers get jobs right now. Angi, Thumbtack, Google services, Google ads, and Facebook ads. I got dated dollar amounts that go back all the way to January of last year. So you're going to actually see full advice. So if you're going off what your buddy just told you on a job site, you're actually going off bad information. So let's get straight into it. But quickly, who am I, right? I'm Conrad, I'm the founder of CTC Media, where we build client acquisition systems specifically for remodelers. That's the whole entire business. So everything in here is from real experience that we have with our clients and also real data that's backed online. So it's not just what sounds good in a blog post, it's real data from real life, right? That's what you want. And I'm going to be ranking them on 3 metrics. Can you control how many leads you get? Can you scale it? And what's the real cost per closed job? Not per lead, but per closed job. The whole industry makes money on you mixing up those 2 things, so we're going to clarify those. And one number to hold it all against. The average minor kitchen remodel is around $28,000, right? So the gross margin that most remodelers have is 30%. So one closed kitchen is roughly $8,000 of gross profit. So measure everything in this video against $8,000. And I'm not going to do this in any particular order, so stick around so you can see all of them. So first is referrals. Referrals and repeat clients are A tier. The gap is actually way bigger than you think. So in a survey, referrals and returning clients were about 37% of leads. And basically nothing else is really above 8%. And the close rates are around 53%. For referrals and also including those returning clients as well. So, but if you purchase a lead from, say, Angi, those type of places, you might be only getting 3 to 8%. So that's like 4 to 15 times the actual close rate. So that is huge. But why isn't it S tier, right? That's probably what you're wondering. It's because you can't turn referrals on, right? Because you can't really call a referral in February when you got like a hole in your pocket for your burning money or you don't have any jobs, right? It's dried up. So basically you're at the will and the whim of referrals and when new clients want new jobs. So basically most people, so 60% of homeowners who got a word of mouth referral still research that pro online before hiring it. So even before you get in contact with them. So your online presence is also super important. So referrals, great leads, but zero control. A tier. No matter how much your product works or how good a quality you do, pretty much whoever reaches out to them first will get the deal. So that's kind of what happens with Angi. And they don't necessarily publish pricing anywhere, so you can't really work out your cost per lead versus your cost per closed job. And there's so much other issues with it. They've got around 1,904 BBB complaints in 3 years. So 1,904 right? 1,904 BBB complaints. That is insane, by the way. So that's not really great. And now also, there's contractors on record paying $600 a month for 17 to 21 leads, and they might close about, depends. Some close 10, that's great. And with those ones, they've done tons and tons of closes. So they're very experienced in sales. They're not experienced in contracting, they're experienced in sales. Realistically, you can probably close around 4 of them out of 20. So it's D tier because the price is kind of an unknown. You're getting shared leads, they're not exclusive to you. And the close rate on them are really low because you're sharing them with so many people. Now, here's what I actually do for a living, and I'm putting it now 3rd up on purpose. Facebook and Meta ads are S tier, and it's not even close, right? The real reason isn't the cost, it's basically you can do more and more math, right? Once you know your cost per lead and your close rate, you know how much money it costs to close another client. You know how much money you need to pay in order to get more and more. Referrals, you can't do that. You can't see how much money do I have to spend to get another client. And a lead vendor won't really let you always see the full numbers. Second, it's the only channel where you pick the job. Homeowners in your radius, age and income of the people, that's what gets you the jobs you want to get, right? Not just any little small handyman jobs, it gets you real jobs. So that is extremely important. And in a survey of over 1,000 home service owners in December, put Facebook as their single best lead source at 32% of their lead sources, with Google's being 20, local services, so billboards, whatever, being 19. And here's some actual data, right? A client of mine was actually paying $338.54 on one lead. One. What we did is we got them to a cost per lead with Facebook and Meta ads to $25.87 a lead. That is insane. That is almost 1/20th of what they're paying, around 1/15th of what they're paying for leads. So I'm not telling you this number just to flex. I'm not selling you a miracle, right? I'm just telling you that with Facebook ads, you have so much control. And since this is the actual system that I built, if you want help setting it up, a full done-for-you client acquisition system, I do free strategy calls. It's the first link below. It's right in the description. We look at your whole market, whether you want more kitchen, bath remodels, whatever it is, or home remodels, what budget looks like at your job size. And we basically kind of want you to leave with a roadmap so you understand how Facebook looks in a strategy, or working with us. Either way, it's completely free. You leave with a plan no matter what. So if you're using F-tier lead sources or even referrals, Facebook ads is something you should look on. But let's continue the video. Google Local Service Ads is B tier. So basically it sits on top of anything that is search related. And you pay for a call, not per click, which is pretty solid. Roughly $70 per verified call is about the number that's been on the average. It could go higher and it can go lower. However, you can burn thousands of dollars of profit calling these leads that you might not know have intent. However, so basically what no one is telling you is that the Google Guaranteed badge is gone. So it used to be this badge that basically they had a money backed guarantee with it, but there's no longer a guarantee. So if an agency is still telling you that there's a guarantee for your Google ad leads, that's just simply not true. Second one is it can cost you a good amount of money, right? Because they no longer give you support credits and like job type services. So if somebody calls you about work you don't do, you still are going to pay for that call, which is very disappointing. There's no appeal, so you could burn a lot of money through that if you don't know how to structure Google ads the correct way. But there's still pretty high intent put to the top of the page, so I would say B tier. Thumbtack is going to be C tier, right? It's the one that I'm going to be like the fairest to on this list. It's average, right? So the advantage is it's genuine, right? It's straight off into your own website. There's no charge to join, no annual fees, no membership fees. It's just month to month. So it's pretty similar. However, here's what it gets you. You're going to auto pay per lead a moment a customer messages you. Not when you reply, not when you book a walkthrough, not when you book an appointment. You're just going to get it when they type, which is insane. So if they're asking a question, if they're price shopping, if they're tire kicking, you're getting paid for that, right? That's not great. And you could lose a job to another contractor and still pay for them just messaging you questions. That is insane to me. That is pretty insane. And one pro that I saw had on their forum about $1,100 in fees and $806 of it on leads that just died. So leads that just messaged and never got back to you. However, it could be a good system for you if you're an expert at it and if you're really, really good at how you structure it. Like I said, it just depends. However, for most pros, I would say it's not even worth it. So C tier. Finally is going to be regular Google search ads, right? This is going to be C tier. And a lot of people do regular Google search ads. Somebody typing in kitchen remodeler near me is basically like further along than most lead sources, right? But the problem is the cost once they click. So a study of over 3,200 US search campaigns kind of shows that for a median for contractors, it's around $65.70 per leads, converting at 2.6%. That's crazy. So that means you have to spend $3,000 just to get a closed job. That's nuts to me. You do the math there, and if you have that $8,000 margin, you're still taking home $5,000. That's pretty solid, I would say. That's just for one job, right? You're paying $3,000 for one job. With Facebook ads, if you pay $3,000, your cost for acquisition for Facebook ads is almost half that, I would say, depending on your ad spend. That's just insane. $3,000. So you can get about 4 times as much leads on Facebook or close jobs on Facebook with the same amount of spend. So that's why I'm going to say it's easier. And that is the full entire list that we're going to cover today. If you want more of this, actual numbers about remodelers instead of just general contractor advice from 5 years ago, subscribe. I post every week on Thursdays. And one last number you go, and this one is mine, it's not a client's. I run ads for my businesses too. So basically, for my business, I ran $259 in spend and got 10 leads, about $26 cost per lead. That is insane. That's something that I can help you with. And I'm telling you this because the S tier channel on this list dies if nobody picks up the phone. You need to be calling your leads, right? Just because you get a $26 cost per lead on Facebook or something like that doesn't necessarily mean you're going to convert them. You need to be calling them, speed the lead, and that applies to every single thing on this list. And if most of your leads are not coming from something that's S tier on this list, give me a call. Book a free strategy call below. We do a full done for you service, and we just want you leaving with something below. Free, no pressure. I'm not trying to sell you, give you a 12-month contract. Just trying to give you an idea. See you in the next video.